Yes people, what is good? I am BA, back once again with another reaction in the Deadwood series. Kinda. This is no longer the series, this is the finale movie. Now, I was told in the comments that this movie happened 10 years after the show was cancelled at the end of season 3. First of all, I cannot imagine what it was like being a fan and having the show cancelled at the moment it was. Mr. Host basically won everything, and that would have been so frustrating. And secondly, I cannot imagine how elated I would have been as a fan at the time when it was announced that they were making a movie to tie up all of these loose ends. I know nothing about this film, I just hope that it in some way continues the stories we were following in season 3. I don't know if, even though there was a 10-year gap from show to movie, if they're gonna treat it like it's the next episode and there hasn't been a time jump, or if they're gonna use that 10 years in Deadwood as well and have a 10-year time jump from the actual show to the movie. If it does continue on, Mr. Host basically just took control of everything at the end of season 3, so I guess that's where it would continue. And if it jumps 10 years in the future, I just have no idea what the town will look like now. So thinking about it, what do I want to happen in this movie? What would I like to see? I would love to see Cy Tolliver die. I would love to see Mr. Host die. In a perfect world, I guess Seth would end up with Mrs. Ellsworth, but the fact that him and his wife have got quite a happy coexistence, I can't imagine that deteriorating so rapidly, unless again there's been a time jump and something has happened in that time. I used to want Farnham to die so bad, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but I hope that little rat scurries on. I hope by the end of this film he's just scurrying on. I hope the Doc's okay, Dan. I hope Calamity Jane and Joni are alive and well. Perhaps Jane's quit drinking, that would be awesome to see. Charlie Utter, it would be great to see him have a happy ending. And if we're going all the way to the top, it would be great to see Al still alive and kicking by the end of this film. But this is the finale of a HBO show, and I'm not going to name names in case I spoil something for someone, but if you're a protagonist in a HBO show, there is a high fucking chance that you die in the finale. That's all I'm saying, right? I'm going to just give my thoughts on the movie at the end of this, by the way, and I'm going to make a separate video talking about my thoughts on the show as a whole before we get into our next big series the week after that. So if you're thinking about it programming wise, this week we have the movie reaction. Next week I'll put up a video giving my thoughts on the show, and the week after, bang, we are into our new series. So without further ado, this is Deadwood, the movie. No season, no episode, the movie finale. So here we go. Let's check it out and see what it's saying to it. It's crazy. Already it's the same, but it's different. So used to the show just starting with the theme.
And years gone, approaching that self-same hill.
Hey, come on, this is just gonna make me smile all the way through seeing all these guys one last time.
Just past wind! Possibly worse.
Same old Jane.
Show her a sign of loving regret from Calamity Jane to her darling.
Does that mean that her and Joni are no longer an item? Because she seems quite nomadic in this scene, so I wonder if something happened between her and Joni. It wasn't going well at the end of last season, to be fair. And there's that classic theme one last time. Watching this, you're like, you know what? Deadwood deserved this shit. It was so good, it was good enough to be on the big screen from the beginning.
Morning, boss! Give me the gimp.
The man himself.
Have something on the stove, Al.
Oh shit, okay, so there has been a time jump, because Jewel looks really old now.
Morning, Al.
Hey! Oh man, I was so convinced the Doc would have died by now. This is legendary. And also, one of the few characters I've ever seen just to have a genuine cough or cold for a while, or bronchitis or something, and then get over it. Usually in a TV show or movie, if you start coughing, you're fucking dead.
Fashioning ink telephone poles.
Hey, we got enough of them damn things already?
Charlie,
Lines in every business.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna do this for like the first 10-15 minutes of this film probably.
Out of sorts, What'd you say, Commander?
Half a stride short of fully fit.
Al and the Doc look the most like themselves so far out of everyone.
You went somewhat wrong at your liver, Al, is what you've goddamn done.
All those years of accumulative drinking have finally caught up to Al. He wasn't that big a drinker, but I suppose when you work in a saloon, you're gonna drink. I was expecting to see good old Al, but it's an interesting choice to have him poorly when we first see him in the movie. I wonder how Mrs. Ellsworth's bank did. I expect she's a millionaire now between the gold claim and the bank.
Sophia, come on.
Wow, that is crazy. Sophia is all grown up. What do you think she did with her life? I think she would be good in school and academically.
Miss Sophia, with 10 years went past like somebody snapped their finger.
So there has been a 10-year time jump in the show as well, okay.
Hey, I'd be happy to convey y'all into Deadwood camp in my wagon.
As we would be.
Now here's a question. Is it actually the same actress who used to play Sophia? That would be absolutely insane.
There you are. Hello there.
And to this day, there are weird, creepy people at train stations. Well, that's cool. They stayed together and had more children. And Seth got a badass moustache. Considering he lost his job as sheriff, it's a very sheriffish moustache. Does he just run the hardware store nowadays?
Amen.
Amen.
They seem to have a real solid relationship now.
Generosity has given himself to our Deadwood community.
Well, break out the motherfucking cheese. The rat is back.
Senator from the great state of California, George Ambrose Hearst.
So Hearst is alive and kicking, and he's now the Senator of California. Well, shit.
Changes wrought by time, ingenuity, and invention.
Well, so far he seems to be very professional in his new position. I wonder if the old, hateful Hearst is still there, or if he's truly grown as a person in these 10 years. I'm sure he levies the same amount of power. I bet he hasn't gone broke.
Conniving, thieving cocksucker.
Resourceful and resolute.
Good to see him and Al are on better terms. Is that the same camera he used to have, or has he got an improved version?
Maybe mark the moment braining me with a fucking brick.
I'd sooner put a ring on your finger.
No way, Sol and Trixie are having a kid, wow.
Hey, we already awash in the miracle of a whore my vintage being pregnant at all.
Trixie will be a great mother. Also, given how season 3 ended, it's fucking awesome just to see her still alive.
Rest.
Obviously, back in the day, he was running for mayor, but does Saul again just watch the hardware store nowadays? It seems strange him and Seth not having any other jobs in the town anymore, if that's the way it is now. I'm not advocating murder, I'm just saying if you've got a rifle, that is a fucking prime opportunity. What will Trixie make of this? This is probably the first time she's actually seen him in person since the day she shot him. Appreciate it, movie, but you don't need to give me flashbacks. I saw that shit last week.
Your Honor! Yoo-hoo!
Is she gonna start shit?
Have I missed word of your appointment to some position of authority?
Have I missed word of yours, you bald-pated cunt?
Holy shit, well I can see where the plot's gonna start in this movie.
Bloodied and dead in the mud.
Well, why not press forward, for Christ's sake? Set herself aflame.
Al's not stopping it, but he knows this is a terrible idea.
Trixie hasn't lost her gift.
She ain't for a fact. Time can't touch that.
She literally looks like she hasn't skipped a day.
Shit heel!
Saul truly saved the day there. She was about to say some dumb shit. Possibly self-incriminating dumb shit.
Mrs. Bullock, I remember your reading lessons so well.
There's the old flames. I guess their day is long gone now because of Seth and his new 3 children, but in another life where they were not bound to duty, they would have got together.
No less a happiness, Mrs. Ellsworth, than to sing you for me.
As a dream might come alive to draw a breath.
Seriously, Deadwood movie. You think I don't remember when they fucked? The flashbacks are not needed, my friend.
I wonder, Mr. Bullock, if all unwitting, I may have done something to upset an apple cart.
I don't think that'll cause any unrest between Seth and his wife.
What?
Nothing, Mama.
She clearly still has feelings for him.
Hearst wants to buy my land. He's coming today himself.
1, I didn't know Charlie owned land, but 2, if I was Charlie, I would tell him to go fuck himself. It seems like one of the only opportunities anyone would have to do so left in the world, so he should definitely seize this moment.
Hearst doesn't deserve your land, Charlie, nor ought I either fail to bring to mind the bastard's disposition to foul play.
I agree with absolutely everything Seth just said.
You don't make a friend a stranger, Charlie. Declining walking beside you.
I noticed Timothy Oliphant's accent is slightly tweaked for the movie. I think he's doing a better classic westerny accent in this movie, and it can be excused by the fact there's been a 10-year time gap. That's just how he started to talk over those 10 years.
Expect you 7 o'clock, Uncle Charlie.
Thanks, Bullock. For the lookout.
Nice, he's Uncle Charlie now. Best godfather you could get for a kid, really.
Come new to town and help her rent in one of your fine rooms.
When she says renting one of his fine rooms, does she mean she wants to work for him as a prostitute?
Went from strength to stronger strength still.
I was so hoping this was not the case, but I figured this would be the case.
I have been made this morning more than somewhat to looking incompetent.
Nice to see he's matured out of his pettiness now he's as old as Father fucking Time.
By God, she nearly brought off.
Referring to her attempt to murder me.
Not too pretty, the picture.
You definitely prettied the picture out, and it was just.
But now I realize I was tricked. The whore you presented in the box was not the shooter at all.
Ah, shit. I knew he was gonna recognize her when she was talking shit on the balcony.
I am making an offer on Charlie Utter's land. Lumber for construction arrived this morning.
He's ordered in the lumber before Charlie's even said yes. Wow, he is clearly not used to anybody ever turning him down.
Discover your deepest nature, Mr. Swearingen. Walk with the future.
It's perfect progression of his character. He's the same old prick, but just a more polished and professional one due to him moving up the political ladder. Hey, I just realised that was Dan. Wow, they changed his look so much with a little bowler hat. I didn't even notice.
Jesus, Mary, and Joseph!
They're ready to support you, Miss Trixie, but you're the one who's got to be pushing.
I guess it wouldn't be a Deadwood movie without us having to witness a disgusting medical procedure.
I hear you, Doc. One more push, Trixie.
And Aunt Lou is there, which is great to see. The one thing which is now worrying me is, did the actor who played Richardson die over this 10-year period? Because I fucking loved the Richardson character. So if he did, rest in peace, what a brilliant actor. And if he didn't, where the fuck's Richardson?
Hello, Joshua. Lord keep you.
Joshua Starr. Now there is a name born for showbiz. Or hardware sales.
To collect Joni Stubbs. Oh, God.
One of the reunions I was hoping to see, and also how amazing would it be if throughout this film Joni and Jane get back together.
Hoping if ever she thought of you, her thinking would be friendly too.
Charlie with the A-grade advice.
Go find your girl. Go get her.
What a well-written character he's been, for real. I absolutely love the Charlie Utter character, and it's interesting to look back at my initial perceptions of him and how off I was. I accept it when I was wrong, you know, I had a complete turn on that character, and I feel like over the last 2 seasons he was just written brilliantly to be an honourable, hard-headed, reactive guy.
Everyone got plenty of room?
Seem to be making do.
Jane is obviously instantly, you know, unhappy to see her in bed with 2 other women. They weren't necessarily doing stuff with her, but they might have been. But then if Jane fucked off and left Joni, you know, she deserves to do whatever she wants.
Me setting off, see the country, see the world.
Weren't we sure as fuck done with each other back then?
No, none of my say so.
That's the way I figured it would have ended. Jane just one day getting a bit self-conscious about something and fucking off. Joni seemed very committed.
You want a brawl, we can do it.
Brawling's unseemly. Girl my age.
There's no point brawling with Joni. That's not her specialty.
New old damn shooter coming out. Believe the game shut down when she left the table.
She looks so bad compared to the last time we saw her. She seems to be drinking more than Jane.
Placer acres that you own, Mr. Utter. Captured my attention.
Scouts you sent previous made that clear.
I'm so hoping this scene ends with Charlie telling him to go and absolutely fuck himself.
500 above. Offer you 4,000 even, cash money.
4,000? That doesn't even seem like a lot. Surely there's been a bit of inflation in these 10 years as well.
Certain special feeling. Partial, say, to a piece of ground.
It is a beautiful place. He doesn't want this shit to get knocked down for telephone poles.
Thanking you for your time and attention.
This better not end badly for Charlie.
Maybe getting motherfucked this morning in the thoroughfare by a woman in the bargain. Somewhat got your back up.
First Trixie cusses him out in the street and now Charlie tells him no deal. But as we know, Mr. Hurst is a murderous petty piece of shit. No way, that was the general. I just realised that there. But yeah, as I was saying, people who say no to Hurst are in serious danger, so I hope Charlie doesn't die by the end of this movie.
Inscription to propose. Tombstone above a casket.
This bar hasn't aged a day, it looks exactly the same.
Brains blown to bits by the coward Jack McCall.
I'll still never forget that. I wish we'd have got to see Jack McCall get fucking murdered.
At the place of his sorrowful demise, may Jane's spirit stand vigilante watch.
Yeah, I don't think Jane will ever love anybody as much as she loved Wild Bill.
Your color looks wrong.
Yes, Woo the Dawn is in the house.
Bullock Star Hotel over the road there. You got that?
How much will you pay me?
His granddad didn't raise no fool.
Swidgen. Drink tea. You drink tea.
You are drinking his tea, no questions asked. Also, since the grandson's English is perfect, I wonder if he'll be able to be like a mediator between him and Wu now and be able to translate. Oh, Johnny likes the new girl. That would be a good ending for his character to get with her because he had such a tragedy last season when the girl he liked was killed.
And Jen move along?
She did?
She moved along alright. Her method of transport? Knife. Still such not even a morally grey incident. It was fucked up. That girl was completely innocent, respectful to everybody at the gym and did not deserve to die, but she was the closest looking to Trixie. Another thing I've noticed is there has been no Cy Tulliver so far. I can only assume that Powers Booth died before this movie was made. I do know he is dead in real life, and rest in peace to Powers Booth. I was hoping that he would have been in this movie before he passed away, but so far it's looking like he probably passed away before this was made.
Check around town. If you find Charlie, tell him my wife's angry at his bad behavior.
Count on it.
Wait, so Seth's now a marshal? Is that above a sheriff? So has he actually moved up? If Hurst has killed Charlie, I will be unsatisfied by this movie unless it ends with him in jail for life or completely dead.
Lead the way then.
Well, at least Jane's getting a little walk with Joni. It's progress.
Come out. Hands where I can see him. Don't you shoot.
Oh, it's the general. Why do I get the feeling he's witnessed something?
It weren't me, no sir.
What the fuck you talking about?
Bullock!
Oh my god, is Charlie dead?
Jesus God in heaven.
Fuck off. Seriously, if Mr. Horst does not die by the end of this film, I will be infuriated. I can't believe he's just killed Charlie Utter like that. And Seth will feel directly responsible because it was him advising Charlie not to sell that convinced him. Well, there's the evidence. I said he was more polished and professional before. He's still a petty, murderous, absolute piece of shit. Think how Jane's gonna react to this.
I'd appreciate Mr. Hurst knowing I'm waiting to talk to him.
I hope we get the most old school ear grab we have ever seen. Like to say hello to the tension banjo for the movie as well. Nice to see you make an appearance.
Foreknowledge, sir, to me of Mr. Utter's murder exposes me to shameful slander and disesteem.
I cannot stand this guy.
What form, then, do you figure your rebuke will take? Murdering cunt that you are.
Seth is having none of it today.
The marshal of whiskey.
I don't want a fucking drink.
You might not want one, but you definitely need one.
You ever think, Bullock, of not going straight at a thing?
No, I don't think it's in Seth's nature to ever do that.
Sidestep in legal administration.
Well, if it ain't for Hurst to follow the law, why the fuck should it be for you?
Yeah, I can see Al's point. You gotta fight fire with fire when this guy's doing everything against the book.
Hurst won't take long before he honors the rigors of his putrid fucking nature. He'll want an answer.
True, if he wants Trixie dead, she better go into hiding right now, because the way Hurst is, it wouldn't surprise me if he had both people killed within an hour of one another. Yeah, fuck Hurst's lumber.
Saloon is a sanctuary. Every man worth the name knows the value of being unreachable.
If only Al could see the way the world went nowadays, he would hate this shit.
Christ. I do have feelings.
It's alright, Al, as much as you have subdued them due to what you do in this town, you're allowed to have some feelings still. The old spit comb, not something you see a lot of nowadays, strangely enough.
I heard a rifle shot and it took the fuck off.
Could you identify the man who did it?
No, sir.
Well, they clearly worked for Mr. Hurst. There is nobody else these guys could have worked for. Charlie didn't have beef with anyone.
It was something I had nothing to do with. Not fuck all.
Nobody's trying to lynch you at this moment here, Samuel.
Imagine that. Imagine if Charlie got killed and the general was hung because people thought he was the one that done it. That is the only way this situation could be worse than it already is.
When Saul Starr and I came to this community, Charlie Utter was first man forward, offering his hand in greeting.
Aside from Sophia, I think Jane has now officially dealt with the most tragedy throughout this show. Actually, maybe Mrs. Ellsworth as well.
No man never stood up for me how Charlie did. Nor with no word about doing it, neither.
Yeah, Charlie was always an absolute gentleman to Joni.
Constituents of the cocksucker from California. Don't I deserve common courtesy?
He 100% deserves common courtesy. Didn't that guest know he was talking to the Rat King? How's that for some reaction plot progression? He's scurried his way up the ladder and is now sitting atop of a cheese throne with a little crown on.
Man looks to be losing his mind, Dennis.
Oh, for fuck's sake. The first Scottish guy we've had in the entire Deadwood show, and he's the one that shoots Charlie Utter. Thanks, Deadwood writers.
It went without saying that you would address any complications.
No way, the rat is getting the inside intel as always. He's got more holes in this fucking room's walls than Norman Bates in Psycho.
How the fuck are we supposed to get into the marshal's office?
It won't be easy, but neither will it be impossible.
Oh, this isn't looking good because if these guys successfully get into Bullock's office, they're going to see that the general has made a statement.
The Negro fisherman, that'd be a job well done.
Oh, he already knows. Ah, shit. Oh man, even looking at the antlers makes me miss Richardson.
Property of mine fell victim to arson last night.
It's a shame it wasn't the clothes you were wearing in your sleep.
There is a public telephone just outside. Take the leap, Mr. Farnham. The future awaits.
Shit, they've already got a phone in the thoroughfare. I never would have thought I'd see the day.
This territory thrives as a direct result of communication.
And in Mr. Host's case, murder.
The procession of years, wanting leakage.
You are a vile creature.
How dare you judge Farnham for needing a piss?
Back to the fucking kitchen.
Futile to go at Hearst's.
Jewel's got a thing for her back now as well, so the doc's obviously made her another harness to help straighten her back. That's cool. Little subtle character progression they haven't even mentioned.
Where you been, Bullock?
Right up the fucking road, Al.
I like to think that's Al's way of saying he missed talking to Seth.
My goodness, a voice? Hello in there.
Wow, they had a Nokia 3310.
Welcome to the Utter Estates dispersal, as will proceed under the supervision of the Deadwood Bank.
How good would it be if someone actually outbids Horst?
Who'll go with me now to 26?
2,600.
Backing your play, partner.
I've got a feeling he's actually going to get outbid by someone.
3,000.
Please outbid him, Mrs. Ellsworth.
38.
3,900.
If he does pay for it, at least he's paid what it's worth now. I've just got a feeling Mrs. Ellsworth is going to come out with a huge figure.
$7,000.
Yes, I thought she might do this.
I've $7,300 for the Utter property. Heard once.
She's just letting him know, no matter what you bump it up to, I'm right there with you.
Third time. Sold to the distinguished and resourceful.
So good to see Mr. Horst take L's. Now he better not do anything to Mrs. Ellsworth now that she owns this thing. Awkward moment for the wife. I hope she's understanding.
You're certain?
Yes.
Now, well, these two guys have got to the general before Seth gets back. Oh, shit. Seth's going there and he isn't there anymore. Shit. I hope Seth shoots these two pieces of shit dead. Grabbing the kid? What a fucking dickhead. Yes, take that, you prick. I hope Seth just beats him till he admits it was Mr. Horst who paid him.
Don't kill him!
Poor soul. Sometimes if you intervene in a fight, you will catch one of those elbows.
George Horst, come out!
It's great to see him still having a bad back. Fuck your back, Mr. Horst. That's just made me realise as well, there's no Jack. The acting troupe must have moved on.
He hired us.
Who did?
Oh shit! That was a quick draw by Seth as well. Nice response.
Lock the next shipment of lumber up.
You believe a badge insulates you from certain untoward consequences.
Seth just letting him know, I burned your wood, motherfucker. It was me.
Tell this cocksucker to lower his weapon.
What a dick, he just shot Johnny as well.
Fucking shot I am.
You'll fucking live.
Yeah, at least he's not dead.
I'm coming for you, Marshal.
Expect you will, Senator.
Surely that can be seen as a direct threat. Seth used to ear grab people for things like that. And with all this drama, I've completely forgot that Trixie's life is still in danger.
Men who murdered Charlie, dead now.
Oh, the Hebrew takes to arms.
Trixie, please calm down.
Still breaking his balls for being Jewish, as always.
I'll exit back of the hotel. Sneaky as a mouse.
You better be sneaky as a mouse, Trixie, because if you get killed in this movie, I will be so furious. Horst can't get everything he wants again. Also, Saul's got a bigger moustache now as well. I like to think there's a missing scene between season 3 and this movie where Saul and Seth were just sitting in the hardware store one day, looking at themselves in mirrors going, do you think we should grow these out a little bit? Yeah, I think we'd look good. Let's do it.
Some choice making your presence known to Hearst.
Agreed, it was a strange one. It was destined to end in disaster. I fucking knew he was going to recognise her.
Haunts me, Jen's face does.
When you cut her throat.
Definitely was not Trixie's fault. Saul did mention in season 3 she was worried that Al was going to do that, so she kinda knew. At the same time, she didn't wish that on that girl, and definitely was not holding the knife.
We're all of us haunted by our own fucking thoughts. So make friends with a ghost. It ain't going fucking anywhere.
One way to approach it. Speaking of which, I wonder if Al still has the Native American chief's head in a box. We never got to see a conclusion to that plot.
Lovely little boy.
As born of his mother, he would be.
I think looking back, the first thing that showed how much of a soft side Al truly had to me was when Trixie initially left him. She was like his number one girl, and he essentially just let her go to Saul, and kind of after a while wished the best for them as well. If he was truly a ruthless, cold-blooded guy like we first were led to believe, there is no way he would have done that, and gave it his blessing.
We're spending the night at the Bullock house.
I ain't running from him, Saul.
For our boy.
That's a good point by Saul. Nobody's questioning Trixie's bravery, but for the sake of their newborn child, they should lay somewhat low for a while.
He's severely injured from the beating. Spleen's ruptured. Blood in his belly.
If anybody can save the general, it's the doc. Best damn doc this side of the Mississippi.
And we ain't exchanging sacred fucking vows tucked away in hiding.
It better not be a public marriage. The last thing I want to see is Trixie get blood all over her white wedding gown. See, it's almost hard to get excited for that. That's great news, but I've just got a feeling Mr. Host is going to do some fucked up shit still and potentially ruin this, so I can't fully celebrate it. Now here's a question. I know when the show was initially made they built the set. After season 3 I know there was a fire and the set was destroyed. So did they actually rebuild the entire set for this movie? Is some of it now CGI or was it still standing when this movie was made? That is a fine selection of shotguns in the foreground. They're all missing that bit on the front in front of the barrel though. What do you call it? Mr. Host's fucking face.
I'd not prolong the chewing up, Doc, nor the being spat out. Not go out a cunt.
These guys are literally having a conversation like I have in my own head with myself.
Probably doing what I'm fit for. How hard do you suppose the bastard turned you out had to work to make you think that?
Why is Trixie speaking to this girl like this? Is she trying to dissuade her from becoming a prostitute?
Oh, well, I hope you're proud spilling your sneeze in my mug.
Anybody else did that to Al, they'd already have a knife in their stomach. This baby got off light.
Your thoughts on me leaving you the joint?
Where's Al going? This just shows how much he really loves Trixie.
Maybe you want to think about running for office. Outnumbered as we are by shitbirds.
If Saul ran for office, wouldn't Mr. Horst just once again rig all the votes, or has shit changed in that regard because he's a senator now? If anything, I would imagine it would be easier for him to do it now.
Heard you was down here. This one was Charlie's.
This is an endearing storyline they've given Jane in the movie. She's really trying her level best to mend bridges with Joni. And Joni's already looking way better than she was when we first saw her.
Don't say a word at all, then just go ahead and give me a kiss and don't say a word.
Of all the other things I'm worried about just now in this movie, this is a nice, peaceful place full of tranquility.
Bring to recollection, you're a hell of a good kisser.
Well, if you've forgotten Jane, wait until you see what she can do when she starts kissing you in other places. She's a motherfucking professional. You're lucky she ain't charging you.
Gentlemen, can we not appear as quadruplets?
And there goes the missed opportunity for the greatest barbershop quartet of all known times. And even with that small hand gesture, Al lets us know he still has a lot of respect in this town.
Loving kindness.
Now this is a strange tradition I've never seen before, the bride circling the groom.
I'd hope the brief ceremony will be respectful to Jewishness.
Well, I'm sure it will be, but we appreciate you mentioning it in such frank terms.
Should your husband kiss you?
Lest he be sleeping outdoors.
It's another trademark of Trixie's character I don't know if I've ever touched on, but she always did have quite witty comebacks for everyone. She's a very witty woman. Seth's mellowed in his old age. You never get him smiling and clapping back in the old days. He would be sitting at a table right now through gritted teeth, watching everyone on the dance floor. This is awkward. I think they both still really love one another, even after all this time. I just don't know if we've got enough time left in the movie to see a resolution to their bittersweet, never going to get together romance.
Are you alright?
But literally every time she sees him, he makes her weak. Oh no, what's his business going to be tonight? He's definitely coming to ruin this wedding, 100%. The guys he's with are lawmen, I didn't even realise that.
I'd pray we forbear from fucking up each other's lives further and live in peace and quiet.
There is no way Mr. Hurst is not going to be a petty little bitch about this. He's about to have her arrested, isn't he?
We have a warrant for the arrest of Trixie Starr for the attempted murder of Mr. George Hurst.
Get the hell out of here.
I fucking knew it.
Prime suspect in the murder of Charlie Utter.
Are you going to incarcerate me again, Marshal Bullock?
They better let Seth do this. They better not have been bought off.
United States of American Senator had Charlie Utter murdered!
I don't think she's going to kill him. I would love to see it, but I'd at least like to see her give him an earful. Oh shit! Now this is getting slightly out of hand, but in a way I fully endorse. And I don't blame Seth for letting it happen. That's real justice.
Leave him be. Oh, God. Lest I arrest every one of you.
I knew he was going to do the lawful thing and break it up eventually, but Hurst got a fairly good ass kick in there. That was glorious. He's been taking a load of L's this movie aside from killing Charlie. You know what that scene actually reminded me of? The very first scene of episode 1. Yes, we got an ear pull. I almost missed it talking about the angry mob, but I caught it. But yeah, as I was saying, the previous scene was very much like that angry mob thing, except this time the mob were able to get Seth out of the way and get to their target. But almost like the very first scene from episode 1 played out differently. Why is that guy walking towards the sheriff's office?
You're my witness, Senator. Marshall's trying to kill you.
Jane, you fucking legend.
Carol's coming behind you, Bullock. About to shoot you back the head.
Seth actually came so close to dying. And also that was Seth's own deputy who was bought off, I believe. That guy at the other bar will be heartbroken. I think that's his son.
The Lord chooses amongst his witnesses and be thought least likely.
I don't know if the general's the least likely witness, but he was certainly just the guy who happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Or the right place at the right time, if you look at it from the perspective of at least someone saw who the fuck did it.
I walk in the valley, joyfully here, and behold.
He's talking like he doesn't think he's going to recover. Wow, that's the most emotional I've ever seen Seth in this show. Even when his son died, he wasn't like this.
I heard you singing the other day. I thought you'd stabbed a frog.
Wonder how long he'd been storing that one up.
Wassy Matilda, you come a Wassy Matilda.
I feel like Al's on death's door as well. I know he's under the weather, but they haven't mentioned he's going to die or anything like that. I hope he's not got some deadly disease and we just don't know. But he does still look poorly. Dan was moved by the beauty of the song. What an absolute G for life Jane is for saving Seth like that. Completely redeems her for that one time back in the day when she was supposed to be keeping watch for Joni and she wasn't at her post. And obviously at this point the Mrs. Ellsworth-Seth storyline ends, as it always has been since they separated. Bittersweet and bound by duty. But at least Seth and his wife are living happily ever after.
Our Father, which art in heaven.
Let him fucking stay there.
Has Al just died? Okay, and that was Deadwood, the movie, the finale, and I will be back in just a minute with my thoughts on that. So, Deadwood the movie, what did I think of that? Well, as I said at the start, I'll just say it again in case you missed it, I won't be doing a full series summary just now, I'll do a separate video for that next week. So I'm just going to be focusing on the movie itself right now. Firstly, I thought it was an interesting choice, they chose to have that 10-year time gap. I was apprehensive that it wasn't going to continue the same storylines I was hoping to see, but it happened to continue the exact storylines I was hoping for a conclusion to. Mr. Host comes back into town as powerful and as petty as ever, and while it first starts as just a basic address and he's obviously there to purchase the land off Charlie as well, Trixie shouting at him from the balcony makes him recognise who she is, which causes all the other events of the film to spiral into motion. Obviously he wants her dead again, and because Seth had that talk with Charlie, Charlie decides not to sell Mr. Host his land, and unfortunately Charlie was killed. I cannot believe such a beloved character was killed so early into the movie. That hit like an absolute punch to the gut. Charlie Utter's one of the coolest characters in the entire show, and I never thought I would be able to hate Mr. Host more than I already did by the end of season 3, but that shit was just infuriating. I wanted Charlie Utter to have a nice happy outcome, but of course by any means necessary Mr. Host is getting that land, so if he can't buy it from you fairly he will kill you. And of all the people to witness it, it was the General, instantly putting him in danger because he can be used as the fall guy of course, so that Host's people aren't implemented and therefore Host. While Seth wasn't there, they managed to pull him out of the marshal's office and try hang him. Seth managed to intervene, shot one of them dead. He brought the other one to Host and he was about to name Host as the man who put him up to murder Charlie when he was shot dead by another guy on the balcony, and Seth did the most amazing quick draw return fire and killed him instantly. He expects to win the bidding only for Seth to rival him all the way, and then he just gets completely blown out of the water by Mrs. Ellsworth because she lets him know if you keep going I'll keep going, and Host knows she's the only one who has any sort of financial might to put a dent into him, and if she's prepared to go to her limits, who knows how much that tiny plot of land might have ended up costing Mr. Host had he continued. So he was forced to storm out, once again defeated. And there was a little bit of romance throughout this movie. Seeing Joni and Jane get back together was absolutely incredible, and by the end scene it seems like they are forever just going to be a happy couple, so that's a great ending to their story arc. And also Trixie had the baby, so she and Saul decided to get married the next day. And just as everything was perfect, of course, Host shows up with 2 out-of-town sheriffs looking to arrest Trixie for attempted murder. And again, Seth steps in to save the day, tells them they have no authority, instantly cuffs Host and marches him to the police cell. And might I add, there was an ear pull at some point as well. The best method of prisoner transportation I have ever seen. But yeah, I think it was Seth's own deputy had obviously been bought off, turned against him, and planned to march in, say, you know, you're a witness, he tried to kill you, and shoot Seth. But Jane noticed it in the street, followed them in. As soon as the guy said that and was about to draw his gun on Seth, she shot him dead. What an absolute legend and a hero, and Jane basically saved this movie from being absolutely tragic and depressing. And I just realised there, Al's plot was kinda subtle when you think about it. It was great to see the doc involved in his plot, but yeah, it seemed like a mild illness, but as the movie progressed and by the end scene, it literally seemed like him and Trixie were reciting his last rites together, so I don't know if the very last thing we saw was Al's death, keeping in true HBO form with killing off the protagonist in the finale, or if he was just poorly and he's gonna get better. It seemed like he was near death, but it's not 100% conclusive. Now that the show's finished, of course, I can look at everything, spoil everything for myself, so I think the first thing I'm going to do once I've finished talking about this is go and see whether Al lived or died in that final scene. Regardless, his story arc throughout it was more he was a watchful eye over the proceedings. There was a little bit of classic Al here and there, but I'd say the story was focused way more on Seth and Mr. Host and Trixie and people like that, or at least that's how it felt. But yeah, just like all the seasons of Deadwood, I absolutely loved this, and more importantly, it tied up lots of stuff that would have just been left to the unknown otherwise. The one thing, of course, is Mr. Hurst didn't actually die, but I had a feeling that might be the case because I know he continued to be very powerful in real life, and I wasn't sure if he met his fate in Deadwood or not. I was hoping perhaps he had, and that would be the last thing we saw, but if that was true, we would have seen it. So of course, he must not have died in Deadwood, but at least we got to see him in jail as the last thing we ever saw of him. Getting huckled by his ear and thrown in a cell. A glorious way to finish this entire season, and I will be giving you guys a full series rundown next week. But until then, if you've liked this video, click like, subscribe to the channel to see more videos like this. Ring the bell to be notified as to when they drop. If there's anything you want to talk about, comment down below and share this around to anyone you think might appreciate it or want to watch these reactions along with us. My Patreon link is down in the description. If you become a patron, you get access to my blog, you get access to these reactions I put on YouTube a month and a half in advance, and you also get access to full-length versions of everything I react to. So consider becoming a patron, it helps me and my channel out so much, and until next time, I have been BA. Peace.